financial institutions, both traditional and otherwise. I think it opens up the dialogue so that you're starting to see more and more regulators understand that the genie can't be put back in the bottle. Even though some of the more critical regulators and policymakers of the ecosystem have acknowledged that it's here to stay. They've started to talk about tokenization and the idea that blockchain and DLT is going to be used in the long term.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to be diving into some groundbreaking fundamentals that prove that we are on the precipice of experiencing massive institutional inflow into this digital asset ecosystem. And if these fundamentals that we're going to cover in today's video breakdown materialize positively over the next consecutive couple of months, we are set to see such massive amounts of money flow into the digital asset space. You're not going to want to miss a beat of today's video breakdown. We're going to be going over fundamentals and playing some video clips, so make sure that you stick around for the entirety of today's video breakdown. With that being said, as always, welcome back to the platform. We do appreciate the love and the support. If you guys would do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you enjoy these video breakdowns. With that being said, let's jump in. So we're going to start here. I feel like there has been a lot of sentiment over the past consecutive couple of trading sessions as President Trump. His inauguration was yesterday. He was sworn into office. As of time of recording this video breakdown is the day after that, the 21st. But there have been some groundbreaking fundamentals that have developed, that have come out, that have shed some light on institutional adoption and where we are currently at. And one thing that is hindering institutional money from onboarding into this space, and if this goes away, this is going to be one of the key enablers that unlocks massive amounts of liquidity moving forward. Okay, so again, this just shows you all how early we are in this space. And I'm also going to show you guys that multiple industry leading experts on stage have pretty much said that not owning any crypto is extremely bad, and that pretty much financial institutions that don't participate in the digital asset ecosystem risk falling behind. Okay, so hopefully I'm not going to butcher this dude's name. Ueda, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Ueda's SEC acting chair, he thinks SAB 121 should go. This is a report from Ledger Insights from 12 hours ago. Now, keep in mind, I played a video clip of an industry-leading expert from State Street months ago talking about SAB 121 and how it literally sidelines financial institutions from participating in this space. Take a second and listen.
Yeah, so Staff Accounting Bulletin 121 was issued by the Office of the Chief Accountant at the SEC, and it essentially kind of had at its core two main requirements. One is that entities that are safekeeping or custodying digital assets needed to include a number of disclosures to their clients, risk disclosures in their financial statements about the risks associated with that, which makes a lot of sense. And then the second aspect was to ensure that those entities include on their balance sheet both an asset and a liability equal to the fair market value of those assets. And for most public companies that this applies to, who are not banks, it's more of a reporting exercise. It doesn't have a fundamental impact to the way they run their business. For a custody bank or a bank in general, when you put an asset on your balance sheet, that means you need to hold capital against that asset. So it makes the activity of custodying assets much more expensive for the bank. And so as we go through this process and we have SAB 121, it essentially provides a hindrance for banks to be getting into this business because it makes it a lot more expensive. Traditionally, in custody of traditional assets, those do not go on the balance sheet. So this is it makes the activity more expensive than it would otherwise be. And I think there's a challenge here too, because as I mentioned, a core aspect of what a custody bank does and what a bank does generally is to ensure that we are doing things in a safe and a sound manner, and that we're managing our clients' assets in a way that facilitates financial stability. By having SAB 121, it makes it harder for banks, who are the entities that are kind of most suited to bringing stability to the digital asset industry. It kind of keeps them out.
That is going to play an important role when we go over today's fundamentals. So reading through this, amongst many White House announcements yesterday, Commissioner Mark Ueda, again, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, was appointed as acting chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission. The president previously announced that Paul Atkins was his pick for full-time SEC chair, which will be subject to confirmation in the future. While Commissioner Hester Pierce has a higher profile in the digital asset space and is referred to as a crypto mom, Commissioner Ueda has voiced similar forceful views during the Gary Gensler era. One of the most contentious Gensler issues was the Staff Accounting Bulletin SAB 121, which effectively blocked banks from providing digital asset custody, including for tokenized securities. Of late, the SEC has begun granting some SAB 121 expectations, but still required banks to clear every engagement with them. Imagine doing a sales pitch in which the caveat is always we have to check with our regulator first, and makes it trickier to get the client to sign on the dotted line. The Government Accountability Office, or the GAO, determined that SAB 121 warranted congressional review. Both the White House and the Senate voted to overturn it, but President Biden, who is no longer in office, used a presidential veto, so it still remains. Again, Trump is extremely pro-crypto, so hopefully he disbands this. When President Biden exercised his veto in June 2024, Fox Business correspondent Eleanor Terrett asked Commissioner Ueda for his views. He said issuing SAB 121 by regulatory edict rather than rulemaking under the Administrative Procedure Act effectively avoids judicial review, which undercuts our system of checks and balances against an overreaching administrative state. The veto of H.J. Res. 109 was unfortunate, and SAB 121 ought to be withdrawn. So hopefully this materializes and comes into fruition because of some ongoing fundamentals that just recently came out. Now, real fast, I want you guys to take a second and listen to this representative mention what is going to happen to the digital asset space if SAB 121 goes away. This is so freaking bullish. And again, it has not materialized yet, but it is something definitely to pay attention to moving forward into 2025 and then heading into possibly even 2026, depending on how long it takes. But just to give you guys a perspective of how freaking early we are, imagine if this did come into fruition. Take a second here and listen to this industry leading expert on stage.
If this goes through, the amount of, because the rule, the amount of reserves a bank or a financial institution is required to have for the volatility of this asset is incredible, prohibitive from them doing anything.
Yep.
So if this goes through, the amount of tokenization and the assets that can be put on chain is just going to explode. So it's important that this works.
Which is why it was put to begin with, by the SEC. It was a very effective tool to block a lot from happening on chain.
And they're specifically talking about SAB 121. So you heard that industry leading expert right there. That is John Wu from Ava Labs sitting on stage with an individual representative, ex-Ripple representative, Robbie Mitchnick, now working at BlackRock, a Coinbase representative, Galaxy representative, and Blockchain Association representatives, literally saying on stage that this space will explode if SAB 121 goes away. Now, before we get into the other video clips, okay, look at this report that just came out 2 hours ago, posted on Cointelegraph, where the Bank of America CEO says banks are eager to enter crypto if regulators allow. Brian, I'm not going to butcher his last name, believes that financial institutions would gladly facilitate cryptocurrency payments if clear regulations around their use were established. Bank of America CEO Brian M. believes U.S. banking institutions are willing to adopt crypto payments if proper rules are in place, signaling that the financial industry is still waiting for clearer signals from regulators before moving forward. Do you know how much money is sidelined still in this industry from participating because a lack of regulatory clarity? Like, people think that right now, because of the most recent price increases, that you are late to the party. You are still so freaking early. It is not even funny. In an interview with CNBC more recently at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, which is taking place as of time of recording this video, Brian M. said, if proper regulations make crypto payments a real thing, then the banking system will come in hard on the transactional side of it. In such a scenario, crypto transactions would simply be considered another payment type alongside credit cards, debit cards, and Apple Pay. That is huge. We have hundreds of patents of blockchain already, he said. We know how to enter into the field. Okay. Again, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up your seatbelts, because what is about to happen over the next consecutive couple of years, I honestly don't think a lot of people can even fathom what is going to unfold, especially individuals that are not in crypto. They're going to absolutely regret not getting into this space now as an early adopter. Not financial advice. Always do your research and assess your own personal risk properly. From blockchain settlement systems to digital wallets, this article continues on to read. An enterprise crypto account, Bank of America has been at the forefront of the patents race since at least 2018. However, as Cointelegraph reported previously, it wasn't always clear whether the bank's patent push was intended to foster blockchain innovation or hedge against future risk. Since then, US crypto regulations have been slow to materialize, which is true. A lack of uniform licensing requirements, limitations on banks, and potential tax implications of transactions with digital assets have stymied the growth of crypto as a payment. Okay, so I'm hoping that we can see this materialize, but now let's just go over to some previous panel discussionists that have talked about falling behind if you do not have digital assets in your portfolio or exposure to digital assets, and that it's not a good idea. Okay, just take a second. I want you to listen, because take this into consideration. When one financial institution onboards into the space, which we've already seen a massive amount of adoption from the largest participants in this ecosystem, like BlackRock, a Fidelity representative literally sitting on stage saying that they are pushing this for their clients and educating their clients further so that they can adopt the digital asset ecosystem.
And then I would say finally, for our customers, our customers don't understand necessarily the nuances of processing crypto. And we wanted it to look the same and feel the same for them as well. So again, trying to make it familiar for us so that we could drive that, awareness and adoption across the firm and across the industry.
We know that once one major financial institution adopts, all must adopt, or they risk falling behind. Take a second and listen.
Level of allocation that institutional investors should consider when they're looking at bringing appropriate level portfolio. And from your perspective, what is the appropriate level of allocation that institutional investors should consider when they're looking at bringing digital assets into a portfolio?
So what I'd like to say is that zero allocation to the space is the wrong answer. More than 2 to 10%, 10% if you can't stand it, if you're not all in on the space, is also the wrong answer. This is a nascent asset class. It is risky. But what has us all excited about the space is the asymmetry of risk reward.
There has been growth, right? From consumer side of things, now we have about 53 million crypto wallet holders here in the US. On the institutional side, they're leaning in by launching ETFs. Just everyone's curious what banks are seeing, what you're, seeing from your customers. What kind of demand have you seen for crypto-related services?
So, I think from our perspective, we are banking the people that are banking those that are in the crypto space. And so the demand has been immense, to be honest. And I think for a long time, especially in TradFi, there was a hesitance to dip your toe into the digital asset sector because of the high costs of compliance and the perhaps question of, was this something that was going to stick? And I think the answer is pretty clear and evident that it absolutely is. And now I think it's more dangerous for the US and for banks to not be willing to invest in it in the right compliant manner. But the demand is absolutely there. And again, it goes.
Boom, right? So two industry leading experts going on to talk about how not having any crypto allocated into an institutional portfolio is the wrong answer. This individual representative here mentioning that you are putting yourself at risk not investing in the digital asset space. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that the panelist here that asked the questions, she said institutional money is leaning in through ETFs.
The US, on the institutional side, they're leaning in by launching ETFs.
Shout out to Mr. Aquaman on X. He just reposted this from Whale Insider. Just in 33 crypto ETFs as of January 21st, 2025 are now currently filed with the SEC, including a Trump and Doge ETF. Now, I don't know if you guys can see the ETFs here, but we have some Solana ETFs, Litecoin, Hbar Xrp. We have some Ethereum ETFs, some Trump ETFs, some Bonk ETFs, and some Doge ETFs. So it's actually really interesting to see some meme coin ETFs, which, to me kind of seems like meme coins, certain ones might actually stick around for the long term. But that's besides the point. My goal here today was to show you guys that we are still so early in this space when it comes to institutional adoption that you really need to zoom out and have a long-term perspective. Always assess your risk properly and understand that we could still experience some market downturns in the short term. But once SAB 121 is lifted, market participants like Bank of America and other large financial institutions are going to come flooding in with so much liquidity. It is going to make the current market cap right now in crypto of about $3.7 trillion as of time of recording look like absolute peanuts. So hopefully you all enjoyed today's video breakdown. If you did, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the platform. We do appreciate the love and the support. Remember, I'm not telling you guys to go out there and invest in digital assets, but definitely consider starting to do research if you are not familiarized with the digital asset space yet on the potential opportunities that this space has to offer. And as always, be cognizant, be aware out there, and I'll see you guys in the next video breakdown.